In this video, I am going to talk about several Kickstarters that are ending in the next 2 to 3 weeks that I think you should be checking out, and I am backing. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of them and show you a little bit of what the project's about and give you the link down in the description below to go check out the Kickstarter. So I am backing a couple comics here. The first one that has the soonest deadline date of June 22nd is Maurice in the Metal, issue number 3. This one is pretty cool. I have not read any of it, but I have been following the creator on Instagram, and I think actually following the page for the comic itself, and somehow I've missed the first two despite that. So we have Maurice in the Metal, an urban fiction comic about a kid who has super strength whenever he listens to heavy metal. The heavier the metal, the stronger he gets. While heavy music gives him strength, other genres of music take it away. He's a slacker in a go-nowhere band until all this craziness is forced upon him by his Walkman, which has been possessed by the spirit of a Black Sabbath roadie who acts as his guide against those that despise heavy metal. Just pretty crazy, right? You can see some of the interior art here is black and white. Yeah. This seems totally metal, right? Awesome comic idea, and immediately got me on board to check it out. You know, we got a couple versions here. They've got print versions for each issue, a print package here. This is coming from Australia, so these are in Australian dollars. So it's actually a little bit cheaper in America, $18 for the issue 1 through 3 package. That is just physical, not digital. And then they got packages that give you shirts, it gives you all kinds of other things, stickers, all kinds of cool looking things. For me, by the time I saw this one, I kind of hit my max of what I could put into Kickstarter funding money for those that are ending this month. So I just got the 3 issues, and I'm excited to read this story. Trying to find the list of the creative team here. And I don't know if Aaron is the writer and artist on this. We've got some covers, Nicola Izzo, Laura Helsby, and Adam Nichols. And it looks like the artist Jesse Ham, who did issue 1 and 2, unfortunately passed away. And so now the artist on here is Nicola Izzo, starting with issue number 3. And so that's unfortunate that the original artist passed away. Does look like the first issues are on Comixology as well. So that's pretty cool. But the idea of this comic sounded really cool, so I was in, and I think it's one everyone should check out. They have met their funding goal. They have met the first stretch goal. I am sure there's some more stretch goals in the works. There's 45 hours to go at the time of me recording this, so probably going to be even less by the time I post this. Probably about a day left by the time I post this. So please go check this one out. It'll be the first one listed down in the description below. Moving on, the next one ends on June 24th, and that is Tarte Submerged hardcover collection. Also has met its funding goal, which is awesome, but there are lots of stretch goals going on here. And as I just reloaded this page, 3 more backers, and it bumped up, which is awesome. This one is phenomenal. It is being published by Scout Comics. After going through some Kickstarters, there are, I want to say, let me pull up down here. I can show you how many issues it's really at. But these first two hardcovers are collecting, I think, up to issue number 7. This story is, however, at issue... Here it is. Goes up to issue 14 currently. So lots of story going on. Volume 1 hardcover has issues 1 through 3. Volume 2 hardcover, this one right here, has issues 4 through 7. I have the soft cover trade paperback from Scout, which I think is the first 3 issues of Tarte, but I am backing this for the hardcover tier, so I can get both hardcovers. Like they said, you don't want this vertigo effect, as they called it, where the spines don't match up. I honestly that really bothers me seeing that. So I'm glad that they feel that too and are trying to give the reader something cool, collectible, that also displays nicely on the shelf. So what is the story about? Let's see if I can find the full description here. There is a lot that it is about, but it's supposed to be a simple training mission. Time-traveling demon hunters in the world's most haunted waterway. What could possibly go wrong? A lot, I guess. During World War II, there was a naval battle between U.S. and Japanese forces in an area called Truck Lagoon, sometimes spelled Chuck Lagoon. The battle was intense, and many sailors and pilots from both sides lost their lives over the course of those few days. The sea is littered with the remnants of that battle, and if you believe the stories, something else. Supernatural occurrences that cannot be explained until now. Magic begets magic, and the introduction of 3 toxics in the area awakens something more sinister. A trio of murder people lie in wait for Tarte acid with murderous intent. Can Tarte survive when she is outnumbered and playing in their terrain? And oh yeah, there are sharks. So many sharks. Well, we're not giving everything away. Answer to these questions lie in the Submerged hardcover collection we are raising funds to print in this Kickstarter campaign. Kevin Joseph, Ludovic Saleh doing the interior art, but Kevin Joseph writing the story, and Submerged Arc opened the world of our story to introduce toxic fruit characters other than Tarte acid. It's also the first and so far only time a guest artist worked on the series. We're extraordinarily proud to have industry superstar Carl Moline supplied line art and colors for the 3rd story in the arc. And yeah, the rest of the team down here below, like I said, Ludovic Saleh, creator and artist, Kevin Joseph, writer and creator, worked together to really create this this whole idea. Carl Moline, like they said, doing some of the line art in one of the issues. DC Hopkins on letters. Cassie Bell editing. Andrea Lorenzo Molinari also on editing, who is co-creator of the Shepherd series, also coming from Scout Comics, and has had stuff for Caliber Comics, Mego Comics, lots of stuff. So, and then they even had somebody doing the Kickstarter page design here. Awesome. But the main things that on this Kickstarter that I think are things you really should check out is either, if you're into digital comics, the digital catch-up cheer to check out all of Tarte, or we've got the soft covers for chapters 1 through 7. We've got the Submerged hardcover if you are partially caught up on Tarte, and the hardcover tier where it's both hardcovers here for issues 1 through 3 and issues 4 through 7. Lastly, the floppy comic catch-up tier where you can read all of Tarte right here if you are not going for the collectible, really nicely designed hardcovers. So those are the big things. There are other options. Like I said, I will link each of these down below, so go check that out when you're able to. This one is coming up in a couple days. It says 4 days ago at this point. Probably be about 3 days to go by the time I post this video. Following on from that one, I've got one called Double Out. Also has 4 days to go. It is not yet at its goal. It is at 717 of $800, 31 backers, and 4 days to go. I've read this one. I've written a review for Double Out 1 and 2. I'll link that down below as well. Maybe take you, if I can, get a card in here and link you over to the review. That might be easier as well. So go check that out. My full thoughts on it, but is issue 2 here is the second issue in Jin Suzuku's redemption story, and right here you can see some of the artwork is just really cool. I love it. Ryan Hulsey, owner of Obscure Production, creator of Double Out, is working with Brian Hawkins to write the story, and this is what it's about. Darts is the #1 sport on the planet, and the International Darts Federation is the major leagues. The greatest darts athletes in the world have one thing in common, and that is an ability to manifest a spirit animal within their dart throws. Hundreds of millions of people tune in to watch the IDF, and a pro contract is a goal for all. Enter Jin Suzuki, a down-on-his-luck, underachieving darts player caught between being a father to his son Kin, a gambling debt with the mob boss Crimson, and following his dreams to become a pro darts player in the IDF. Follow along with his journey to discover if he can find redemption with his family, pay off his debts, become a pro player, or possibly fail and continue the downward spiral. This is issue 2 of a planned 8-issue volume. And like I said, the artwork on this from Fernando Maruru and Estanislao Marugo is just top notch. I love it. It does have a almost manga-esque vibe at times, and I love the way the layouts are set up. Brings me to how some of that is set up a lot of the time. But it's fantastic in this. Ryan and Brian work super well together to bring this awesome story to life. Of course, Brian Hawkins, writer and creator of Black Cotton. He also is editor on so many things. I feel like he just had another Kickstarter as well. Brian Hawkins is killing it out there with his work. So you should be going and checking out his stories as well. But this one is looking like it could use some extra love. All of them could, because there are always stretch goals. And it's oftentimes when more money comes in, that means more money can actually go to the creators instead of just going to producing the book and the creators just kind of breaking even. So this one in particular, though, is not at the goal. Love to see it hit funding before that time runs out, because it is a really cool comic. I have read both issues. Issue 2 is done. It is ready to just send out to people once they get it to print, once they get the money. So there's no waiting on the issue being completed and continued to be drawn or anything like that. So that's pretty cool too. So we're going to move on from that one, coming back over to the list real quick here. Malady is ending on July 1st. Malady is from writer Frank Martin. It is about halfway done, a little over halfway backed right now with 79 backers, 11 days to go. Frank Martin is fantastic at putting his Kickstarters out and getting them to the readers and the backers pretty quickly. He usually, I feel like, has his books already printed and ready to go, so that when the project ends, he starts working on sending them out. So I picked up an homage cover here because it was phenomenal. We'll come back to the creative team here in a second, but I just want to show this off because I thought it was amazing. I guess there might not be a bigger version of it, but there's the homage cover to Demon in a Bottle, the Iron Man cover. So I thought that was a cool cover here. The creative team here: Frank Martin, writing, Claudio Sepulveda on art, Brian Magne doing colors on the cover. Of course, interiors are in black and white for this story. And Ian Laurie must be doing the homage variant cover there. So, let's go back up. Let's talk about what this story is about. Demons inside all of us may take many forms. For Bill, it's his alcoholism. Every drink morphs him closer and closer to the monster his family fears. Will he be able to kick the habit, destroying his life, or is it already too late? Malady is a black and white horror comic with 20 pages of story and should appeal to fans of emotionally charged monster tales like The Babadook, Pan's Labyrinth, Swamp Thing, and The Fly. So yeah, I think everything I've read from Frank Martin has been fantastic. He's been killing it on putting out great stories, often usually 1 or 2 issue stories. This one is a one-shot about supernatural horror. So go check that one out. Again, linked down below to get you over to the Kickstarter. From there, we have one that is ending on July 5th, and that is Producing the End of the World. This one recently hit its funding goal there, just funded. So congratulations to them on hitting that. It is a post-apocalyptic comic book anthology for fans of love, death, and robots, and heavy metal and death. 14 days to go, 194 backers at this time. This one is also in Australia, and so shipping, of course, is pretty expensive, so it does make it a little bit harder, but coming from Soto and Telepaths, this has got to be quality anthology. Anthony Pollock editing and putting this together with Gary Proudly, and Rob Jones doing lettering throughout the book. Here is the first 4 pages of each story, and I think just scrolling through, looking at the art here, I immediately was seeing this and saying, yes, absolutely, this is awesome. That's the first story there. Second story, again, just seeing the artwork just again and again. These are all quality stories here. This one, we see the credits here. Rob Pilkington and Elodie Chen, creative team on that one. More great story. Honestly, this right here, I know it's not, but it has a Andrea Moody vibe. So that was pretty cool. So let me get down past all this. So these are previews of all the stories. This 72-page anthology. We got Penny and the Mechanical Strawberry from Louis Southard and Domenico Pagano. Louis Southard, recently his series Midnight Western Theater was optioned and is looking to go into production for a TV show. Fantastic. Congrats to Louis on that. We've got the Opal Idol, Gary Proudly, writing, art by Rob Gaugrin. We've got Down with Something, written by Rob Pilkington, with art by Elodie Chen. The Meek Shall Inherit the Earth, Aubrey Jepson and Jeremiah Sheik. Aubrey Jepson also part of another anthology series we're not going to talk about in this video, but we did have some of the creative team on the channel recently, and that was the Scott Snyder Presents Tales from the Cloakroom anthology, a group of creators from Zack Snyder's writing class. The very end, humanity is already dead when its alien annihilators arrive to destroy it. So what do they do now? Written by Scott Dunn and art by Paul Gorey. Darkstorm, written by Adam Burt and art by Richard Kemp. Last song played will not be Freebird. Alex Dandino and Chris Mario. Lots of love from the comics industry on here. Different creators throughout, from super indie to people who are doing a mix of creator-owned content that is Kickstarter based and some that is published out there. Jared right here will be on the channel this week. So depending on when this drops, it could be today, it could be tomorrow. We shall see when I drop this, but within probably 24, 48 hours of this dropping on the channel. But yeah, main thing here, we aren't in the first 24 hours anymore, but physical copy for $19 Australian, which is about $14 American. And then there's different variants that have different prices. That's pretty cool. Kaiju of the Apocalypse, Android and Daughter, pretty cool. But yeah, lots of cool things on here. I think this is an anthology to definitely be on the lookout for, and one that's got lots of great creators in it to check out. So I picked up a regular cover, and like I said, it is coming from Australia, so it is another $20 Australian, so double the price to have it shipped here, but I think that's worth it. You end up paying about $30 to get a 72-page anthology, including shipping from Australia, so not bad. The next one is ending on July 6th, and that is Free Hands, issue number 1, 18th century pirate adventure comic from Matthew Wilding. No gods, no kings, no masters. Free Hands. A short life, but a happy one. After witnessing the deaths of his fellow crewmen, a pirate refuses to repent to a Puritan minister and instead condemns the system that created him. Free Hands is a 6-issue historical noir adventure series about the small rebellions and little victories, often coupled with crimes and violence, tackling social and cultural struggles still present today through the lens of the golden age of piracy. Story comes from the perspective of Gregor, a low-level crewman awaiting execution and being made an example by Reverend Wilson, a notoriously anti-pirate clergyman in 18th century Boston, following the deaths of all of his shipmates in a battle by the hangman's noose. Gregor uses his public confession to recount a mutiny on the sloop Maria and the consequent self-government of the pirate ship christened Freehand under the leadership of the near universally elected Captain Silk, a foppish gentleman pirate with an egalitarian streak, equal parts Blackbeard and Black Bart Roberts. Freehand looks to historically account for piracy incorporates elements of westerns and crime fiction to tell a story of people finding their place in a world seemingly designed to hold them back, drawing on the traditions of Treasure Island, Pirates of the Caribbean, and twist films like Seven and The Usual Suspects. It is a story strikingly of our time while remaining faithful to its own. This Kickstarter will fund part 1. So creative team is Matthew Wilding and Matt Rowe. They have they collaborated earlier this year with celebrated horror short Little Things, followed by the one-shot horror book Nightmare Man, which you can pledge and get both Nightmare Man and Free Hands number 1, and which is what I did. And honestly, looking at all of this, the prices on this is just astonishingly low for a Kickstarter. $5 for a physical copy plus $5 shipping in the US is fantastic. That's like prices that you're going to see, almost prices you're going to see for a comic on the shelf at your shop. The value pack of digital and physical for $8. The one I did, $9 for both books, signed for $10. Retail tier, if you are a retailer, 6 books for $15. Own a shop, have a comics club, just want to hand out pirate comics to friends and families, this is the tier for you. So, I mean, hey, if you want to get 6 copies and hand them out to friends and family, there it is. I think I also added on another book from Matthew Wilding in the add-ons, so just to check out more of his work. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how, there's the historical aspect to all of it. So I think that is awesome that is in there. Moving on down the list here, I've got Torch, Reclaim the Skies, number 1 and 2. 17 days to go. Putting it at a July 7th end date. It is already reached its goal, 150 backers, so that's awesome. But they've got milestones and bonus things that you can get as they hit more things. Looks like they just hit that one. 150 backers unlocks this digital comic, audio commentary, coloring page, all these things added later down the list. Stretch goals for certain dollar amounts, including trading cards, art prints, etc. What is the story about? Torch flew upwards, hands outstretched, and grasped for the stars. As she stared at the inky skies, her brother Spark glanced at her, and then he knew that the sorry life was killing her on the inside. He knew they had to break free and feel the rush of that infinite number of galaxies had to offer. They had to run and run wild. The adventure continues. After the exciting conclusion to issue 1 of Rebels, Torch and Spark Armstrong decide to break free and live as interstellar fugitives, all in a bid to quench Torch's thirst for adrenaline. There's just one problem. How the heck are they going to get off this planet? Torch, Reclaim the Skies is a story about depression, nostalgia, and the lengths that a person will go to break out of that rut. As an ex-pilot prodigy and adrenaline junkie, is no surprise our Torch Armstrong takes things to the extreme. We've all felt the urge to break out of that rut and find an adventure outside the norm, and she was forced to retire as a teenager. Torch feels this itch especially. Issue 2 introduces new characters and evolving backstories. The story also explores Torch's past in the most unconventional way. Plus, we learn more clues about the game-changing mystery revealed on the last page of issue number 1. So yeah, I am getting caught up. I have not read issue number 1 of this, and I was hooked on just the description alone and the artwork. So I mean, here's some of the artwork. Preview the first 5 pages of issue 2. Are you prepared to make a deal with the devil? I mean, just the artwork is fantastic. Some cool covers in here. Cover A, cover B, Rosie Alexander, awesome there. I've got just the cover A's for issue number 1 and 2. But there's some really cool covers on here. See You Space Cowboy. That's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Let's see. Early Bird Special. We're past that. So what can you get? Digital catch up, $9. Physical for one copy of issue number 2 there. Physical catch up there of 1 and 2. Different choices with the variants, foil versions, all kinds of crazy things. For me, I was keeping this simple, getting into this right now of getting a copy of issue number 1 and issue number 2. So that is ending on July 7th. They have met the goal, but they have so many more goals that they want to go for to make this an even better project. So moving on from there, this one is ending on July 8th, and it's called The Dark Side of Purity. This one is an anti-patriarchy anthology of prose, poetry, and comics, taking on the idea of purity from the point of view of women and non-binary creators. This one's getting close to the goal. It's about 3/4 of the way there. It is a Kickstarter staff pick. I think it is definitely talking about some very important topics here. It's from Band of Bards Comics, independent publisher of comics and graphics novels based in Buffalo, New York. And so it's a combination of 2 books. We got a volume 1 and a volume 2, collection of prose and poetry in 1 book, and a second book with comics and graphic poetry. His works come from a standout team of women and non-binary creators from all corners of literature. And here is page 1 of one of the stories, Wild Heart. Page 2, page 3, just awesome artwork in this. And there is such a crazy, awesome group of creators on this. Fantastic indie comic creators that you've seen on lots of different projects. different Kickstarters, different published projects. Fellhound, one that stood out, so I was scrolling through. I'm sure I've seen some of these other ones before, except when it gets to the prose and the poetry stuff, because I definitely have not seen a lot of non-comic creator names out there right now, unfortunately. So this will be an introduction to some of them, which I think is pretty cool. They kept the rewards pretty simple. There's physical editions. There's virgin covers, no text covers of those. There's some variants. I do really like that cover there. That's pretty cool. And then they have a little bit about why it's so important that they do this. Reproductive rights in America are under direct and unrelenting assault. This is only because of purity culture and the desire to control women's autonomy. Current events are tied so closely to the purpose of these two books that we felt it necessary to speed up the timeline. This is an all-hands-on-deck moment in history, and we're doing what we do best to fight back. The goal of the campaign is to fund the creation of the books, and then all profit after this campaign covers those costs from future non-Kickstarter sales are going to be donated to NARAL. Kickstarter does not allow raising of charitable donations via their platform. Any excess funds remaining after campaign fulfillment will be passed from Band of Bards to Elise Russell for distribution to the creative teams. Band of Bards is keeping no money from this campaign. And so they teamed up with Elise Russell on some other books, and Elise Russell came to them with this idea to put this out there. So this one is the last one I'm going to talk about right now. This does make it about a 30-minute video talking about all these different campaigns. So I hope you've been able to at least scroll through and look at all of them, and check out the links to all of them down in the description below, because there are a lot of awesome things that I think people should be checking out. I will have a couple more campaigns, more mid-July ending dates towards the end of July to talk about in a video in about 3 weeks. I'll hopefully talk about some more Kickstarter projects. Two of them, of course, are Worlds Away #1 from Damien Becton and Scott Snyder Presents Tales from the Cloakroom, that anthology series I was talking about earlier. We've had a crew from the Anthology series on the channel to talk about it already, so go check that out. Damien Becton will be on the channel on the 29th of June to talk about Worlds Away. So we got those two covered in a different way right now, and I'll probably talk about them again when I review other Kickstarters that are ending soon. So thank you for watching this. I know it's been a long video, but lots of cool projects to check out, so please go and look at these. As always, collect what you love. See you next time.